This is Campus News, reporting the top stories from colleges and universities.
Next on Campus News, see how Japanese students at MSUM were affected by the earthquake 1 year ago.
Prospective students get an inside look at MSUM.
An MSUM senior basketball player puts her stamp on a record-breaking career.
But first, a tragedy shocks the University of North Dakota. Hello and welcome to Campus News. I'm Chelsea Smith.
And I'm Robert Swanson. The University of North Dakota is mourning the loss of one of its students.
20-year-old Blake Ayling was a sophomore from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Ezra Vandenighty joins us in studio for more on this story. Ezra?
Grand Forks police say the body found last Saturday morning along the train track south of UND is that of Blake Ayling. Ayling was a pre-entrepreneurship major and had been named to both the UND President's Roll of Honor and the Dean's List.
So there's sadness across campus. It's hard when you lose someone so young. And I've heard from students, I've heard from professors who had this student in class. He was a bright, engaged student. So it's a loss that we're all feeling across campus right now.
Grant Bakke, a classmate of Ayling, first learned about the accident from a professor.
Our teacher, Miss Gruszewski, was really distraught and said she couldn't teach class today in light of the news, so she just kind of dismissed us after that.
Police and friends of Ayling believe he may have been taking a shortcut across the tracks between campus and his apartment. He had been seen around 1 a.m. Saturday morning. The area where Ayling was attempting to cross is part of a quiet zone where trains are not permitted to blow their horns. The yard has 25 tracks and is used for connecting and terminating trains daily. There are no boundaries separating the campus from the rail yard. However, authorities say that students crossing the rail yard has not been a problem in the past.
The railway became silent in, I believe, August of this past year. So it is new. It is something that we did advocate for here on campus, but also realizing that it could bring about potential concerns.
The rail yard, posted with danger and trespassing signs, now bears a more somber warning to remind students of the dangers of crossing the tracks. One person added a short prayer. "We come to you in shock and grief and confusion of heart. Help us to find peace in the knowledge of your loving mercy." And in a statement from UND President Robert Kelly, he said, "We extend our sympathy and heartfelt condolences to Blake's family and many friends at UND and elsewhere." Robert and Chelsea, back to you.
UND is offering grief counseling to students who need it.
Faced with another financial crunch, MSU Moorhead officials are again asking students for a hike in tuition fees. Administrators presented a plan to the MSUM Student Senate calling for a 5% tuition increase and more than 15% fee jump. They also gave student leaders two options to reverse what officials described as a vicious cycle of stagnant enrollment and annual budget troubles.
Over the last 5 years especially, but really the last probably 10, we have just seen cut after cut after cut.
The administrator's preferred plan would tack on another nearly 3% tuition increase to pay for a new academic support dean and several new academic advisors. The other option would create two new fees for new technology and undergraduate research programs. The administration is required to consult student leaders about tuition and fee changes, but the MSU Board of Trustees makes the ultimate decisions. Student Senate President Kimberly Ehrlich says the Senate will study both plans before finalizing a position at its April 5th meeting.
We'll do our part in, outlining how we feel about the issue, and hopefully that will influence how they make their decision.
The Senate is inviting students to share their opinions on tuition and fees with leaders.
Saving money and earning a degree in 3 years. Two statements that are not only music to a student's ears, but for some are becoming a reality. While tuition at most colleges has been on the rise, some schools are cutting their costs drastically. The University of Charleston in West Virginia cut its tuition by 22% this year. Even though some schools may not be changing their tuition, they are promoting a 3-year degree. Ashland University in Ohio offers a bachelor's degree that students can finish in 3 years, saving them an estimated $34,000. It's been a year since both an earthquake and a tsunami hit Japan.
Some Japanese students at MSUM who actually experienced the earthquake and lived through it remember the day that changed their lives. Shoko Akiyama tells us their stories.
On March 11, 2011, Japan's largest earthquake in its history occurred, and lives were changed in a few minutes.
Actually, I was Narita airport, and then I was with my mom and my friends, and I was waiting for my airplane, but earthquake happened, so my flight was canceled, so I had to stay whole night in the airport.
I was in Tokyo, in my room. I was living by myself at that time, and then it shakes a lot suddenly, and then like everything was falling down from cupboard and everywhere, and it was freaking me out.
I think Japan is famous for earthquake, and then we are, trying to be ready, but it was not enough because many people died.
The disaster caused more than 15,000 deaths, 26,000 injuries, and 3,000 missing. Many of the Japanese people helped the victims as volunteers. Ayaka Takehisa, a student at MSUM, was one of them.
It was horrible. I play with children who lost their parents, but they smile a lot. People were so strong, stronger than me, and I was supported by them.
I'm so lucky to be alive, so I have to do my best, every moment.
The earthquake and the tsunami that followed was a heartbreaking disaster. But students like Naoya Uchida and Ayaka Takehisa have changed their perspectives and started to look forward. Shoko Akiyama, Campus News.
In addition to the Japanese students, Americans studying abroad were also impacted by the disaster.
One MSU Moorhead student was there at the time of the earthquake and tsunami. He shares with us the effects the disaster had on his experience.
And then there were two.
These are the words that MSUM student Daniel Ziebel says were exchanged between him and his friend, the two remaining exchange students at Nagoya Gakuin University. Even though Ziebel and the nearly 20 other exchange students felt safe, it wasn't long after the tsunami hit that students started to return home.
After watching person by person return home or just randomly disappear without being able to say goodbye, it just turned into this kind of dark cloud looming over everyone's head.
Ziebel says much of the worry came from the way Western media sensationalized the event.
In a time when everyone's reporting on the same thing, people are going to be fighting for ratings. And when people are fighting for ratings, some people take advantage of that situation.
One reporter from the UK wrote, 9 days after the tsunami, the remarkable truth is this. The people who have lost everything are coping better than the people who have lost absolutely nothing.
Articles like that are just laughable because that in no way is true.
Ziebel says what was supposed to be a memorable adventure with friends was cut short due to some inaccurate reports from the Western media.
Instead of feeling sorry for our situation that we were put in, that is during that time that we kind of need each other the most to pull together and give help for the country and the people that were actually in need of help.
Ziebel says he wouldn't wish his experience on any other exchange student, but says he has grown from the circumstances he has went through.
Ziebel says he is currently working to publish a research paper in hopes of getting his message out about sensationalized reporting.
Minneapolis police and the University of Minnesota have been using technology together for decades. But in the past 10 years, improvements in technology have led to a 30% decrease in school crimes. Some of the new technology includes a series of mobile cameras around the city and in police cars, a group of synchronized microphones called ShotSpotter to locate gunfire, and a system connecting all pawn shops together to monitor items which may have been stolen and sold. The U of M is also getting a new breathalyzer system over the next few months. Minneapolis and the university police officers say the improvements in technology help them get work done faster and more accurately.
Students at MSU Moorhead benefit from hands-on training at the Early Education Center. The center has more than 35 children ranging from 16 months to 6 years of age. Reporter Atuka Brume has the story.
It's snack time here at the Early Education Center, and for some Minnesota State University Moorhead students, it's the ideal place to get hands-on training. The center hires more than 30 work-study students alongside 4 licensed teachers. Casey Martin is a senior majoring in elementary education. She says the center has taught her how to come up with lessons and improved her interaction with children, and she likes how convenient it is to work here.
I really like how it works because it works around your class schedule.
All education majors are required to have certain amount of experience hours before they can teach on their own. The director of the Early Education Center says it gives students a chance to get a feel for their future careers.
In each of the younger rooms, so the 2 toddler rooms, they always have the head teacher and 2 teacher aides with them. And then in the preschool rooms, they always have the head teacher and at least 1 teacher aide with them.
Former MSUM student Lindsay Palczewski is now a licensed teacher. She's one of the 4 teachers on staff. She says she likes being part of this learning environment.
Okay, guys, when we're all done, we need to start using the bathroom and get ready to go outside. I love it here. It's a really nice facility. Everything is pretty much brand new. It's nice to know that you're helping undergraduates as well learn how to work with children.
With teachers in demand, experience can be what sets individuals apart, and these students are taking full advantage of the opportunity. Atuka Brume, Campus News.
All 4 of the teachers at the Early Education Center are MSUM alumni. MSUM is offering help to the homeless and low-income people of the Fargo-Moorhead area with counseling. Otto Bremer Foundation gave MSUM a grant of about $135,000 to open the first free on-campus counseling clinic.
We are one of a handful that have really integrated the on-campus, serving the student population at the same time trying to serve the community, the broader community, and more specifically, really focusing on the high-need individuals that are lower income and having it completely free.
The clinic also gives an opportunity to students in MSUM's counseling program to help counsel clients under supervision.
It's different to be able to sit down and practice these theories and these orientations with a real person. So not only do you get to help someone else, but you're also learning yourself throughout the process.
Each room is equipped to record the client's visit so students can watch and learn from each session.
Concordia students are proving to be skilled speakers and debaters. Members of Concordia's speech and debate teams are advancing to nationals this spring. Junior Eric Walker and sophomore Emily Bosch will both be competing in the National Debate Tournament in Atlanta this weekend. Senior Alex MacArthur and 15 of his teammates will be competing in the National Speech Tournament in San Marcos, Texas this April. MacArthur received the 2011 Kevin Heineman Award for his service to the district and forensics community.
Imagine flying amidst the Milky Way galaxy, soaring around Jupiter, or hovering over the surface of Mars without traveling to space. Reporter Nora Alamran takes us to MSU Moorhead, where you can do just that.
People from all ages packed the MSUM planetarium for the latest show. Professor Matt Gregg himself was astonished that the planetarium was crowded and says it hasn't received that much attention in years.
In my wildest dreams leading up to this, there were not 120 people here. You know, turns out dreams come true.
Most of the time, this planetarium is filled with students.
240 students this semester who take astronomy. To be perfectly honest, half of them are in that class because they have to take a science class with the lab.
However, that doesn't mean that students are not interested in astronomy.
But there's, you know, a good half of the class has chosen, of the courses they could take, they've chosen to take astronomy because it's something they want to learn more about.
An advantage to taking this science class is also that you can be able to look at the sky and tell which star is which.
One of the options we have in the course is that students can come into the planetarium and learn a bunch of the constellations. And for some people, that's what they really want to get out of it. They want to be able to show their friends where the stars are.
Being able to look at the universe just from clicking a button helps Professor Craig understand how lucky he is.
Click the magic button and it's like, wow. I'm really fortunate that this is my job.
At the end, people left with a bit more knowledge of what lies beyond the sky. With photographer Brittany Larson, Noor Al-Amran, Campus News.
One of the main reasons the MSUM's planetarium is so popular is because of the new piece of equipment that's out of this world. The planetarium recently installed a new digital projector and scientific software. This software opens up several opportunities to take audiences through virtual experiences. The old projector could only show objects from Earth's point of view, but the new projector can examine outer space as if you are actually face-to-face with a star. The projector system is operated by a handheld device that allows the driver to fly from planet to planet.
It is amazing. I mean, we went out to the edge of the galaxy.
The planetarium is open to the public. Most shows run around 50 minutes.
A passion for science and a dedication to helping others are all a part of one MSU Moorhead student's lifestyle and future career. Yvonne Soleil shares the story of one man's journey across the world.
Ishmael Bonlaw spends countless hours every week in his own classes and on lab research, but the senior still finds time to share his knowledge and love for chemistry by tutoring 15 to 20 hours a week.
Gained hydrogen. I like explaining things to people. You know, it helps me myself remember things that I learned, and it helps other people understand it. Oxygen residue, right? And it's a good thing to do. That's why I just enjoy it. And there's H2O that you could use.
Ishmael's interest in helping people began thousands of miles from Moorhead in his home country of Togo.
I've seen people that suffer diseases in my country, so it got me interested in helping people.
He says he would like to help the community he grew up in, either by returning to Togo or from here in the United States. Either way, with 8 years of school left, he says he has plenty of time to decide. Until then, he will continue to answer quizzical chemistry questions for students on campus. With photographers Matthew Holding Eagle and Joshua Berggren,
Okay, are you sure you're not?
Yvonne Soleil, Campus News.
Here, 'cause
Ishmael has been accepted to multiple graduate schools, but is leaning toward the Medical School of Wisconsin so he can stay in the Midwest while completing his doctorate. Students at Jamestown College are making waves, radio waves. The push for a student-run radio station has been going on for years. The station researches almost 18,000 people, making it one of the country's top college radio stations for potential listeners.
Selling a product can be a challenging task, but imagine trying to sell a university. Reporter Ristede Serrano gives us a look at what it's like giving tours at MSU Moorhead.
You guys have any questions so far? No?
Jennifer DeBleek is a campus tour guide and Dragon Ambassador at the admissions office at MSUM. Campus tours are a way for potential students to view the campus and see if MSUM is the right fit for them. Allie Collin is one potential student viewing the campus.
It's small, but it's not too small, like where you're going to be completely overshadowed by everyone else. I like that.
Students are shown most of the academic buildings, the dorms, the CMU, and the new wellness center.
Right behind me is the wellness center here on campus, so we're going to go right inside.
DeBleek gives advice to these potential students and shares her experiences at MSUM.
I do love this job. I get to meet a lot of new people, influence people's decision on where they're going to go to college at.
Campus tours continue to welcome new students throughout the year in order to see if the MSUM campus is right for them. With photographer Brittany Larson, IDC The Serrano, Campus News.
Campus tours are offered Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. And now we turn it over to CJ Pierre for a look at this week's sports.
No flood this year means a lot of area schools can get out on the fields a lot earlier.
Yeah, I've even been out to the driving range a couple of times.
Yeah, with this nice weather, a lot of spring teams are starting to get things going. Thanks to a mild winter, MSU Moorhead's women's lacrosse team is able to get this season started earlier than expected. Sports reporter Macy Eglin shows us how they fared in their first home game despite some chilly weather.
The MSUM women's lacrosse team took the field for their first game with high hopes and extra layers. In past years, the Dragons have been unable to hold games on their home field, but with no flooding, this year is much different.
This is actually our first game that we've ever played up here because usually teams by the cities hold tournaments, so we just go down there.
The women played 10 games in the season and in previous years have had to travel all over the Midwest to compete.
And I know in the past, because of the floods, we've had seasons that have just stopped because we couldn't get those games in.
This season, with dry ground and little chance of a flood, the team says it's happy to hold games on their own turf. With photographer Dan Ziebel, I'm Macy Eglin, Campus News Sports.
1, 2, 3, Dragons!
The Dragons lacrosse team will take the field today and tomorrow in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Isn't that ironic? The University of North Dakota men's hockey team showed off its new uniforms at the NCAA tournament, but the new look wasn't well received by UND faithful. UND played new uniforms without the Fighting Sioux logo on them. The NCAA banned the use of the logo during the NCAA tournament. Fighting Sioux fans showed how they felt about the ruling by booing during NCAA President Mark Emmert's welcome message. The statewide vote for the law requiring UND to keep the nickname is on June 12th. There are many people who are athletically gifted, but not many people get a chance to see how hard athletes work to stay in shape. And an area native is doing his part to make sure MSU Moorhead's athletes are ready come game day. Travis Anderson of Fargo is MSUM's strength and conditioning coach. He works with all the Dragon athletic programs, coaching nearly 350 student athletes in 9 sports. Anderson says strength is crucial to athletic performance.
If you don't have that strength, a lot of times you'll see injuries. And if our guys are injured, then they can't help us win. And so that's my #1 priority as a strength coach. Every sport is different, so every workout or program, I should say, training program is going to be a little bit different.
Anderson is MSUM's first strength and conditioning coach. For those of you who haven't torn up your bracket like I have, let's get an update on who made the Final Four in the NCAA men's basketball tournament. The #1 overall seeded Kentucky Wildcats are the South Region champions after an 82-70 win over Baylor. They'll take on the West Region champion Louisville Cardinals, who knocked off Florida 72-68. The other side of the bracket features two seeded teams. East Region champs the Ohio State Buckeyes, who beat #1 seeded Syracuse 77-70, and Midwest Region champs the Kansas Jayhawks, who beat a banged-up North Carolina team 80-67. The Final Four tips off tonight in New Orleans. Over the past 4 years, one MSU Moorhead women's basketball player has built her career to become one of the greatest in program history. However, the stats don't fully reflect what Angie Jetvick has provided to her team and school. Sports reporter Colin Boyles tells us how this senior has impacted MSUM.
Angie Jetvick's first game in a Dragons uniform delivered 16 points against the Division I University of Minnesota Gophers in 2008. The exhibition performance was a microcosm of what was to come. A 4-season career for the Hawley, Minnesota native. Almost 3 years after her first collegiate game action, she has totaled 4 All-American Team Awards, 2 First Team All-Northern Sun honors, and the 2011 MSUM Female Athlete of the Year. Jetvick says in her eyes, the recognition has come from the help around her.
After all the hard work and dedication that not only I have done, but the coaches and the team, because I wouldn't be anywhere without them. I mean, it just isn't an award for me, it's an award for everyone that contributed.
The Dragons earned a trip to the Northern Sun postseason tournament during each of Jetvick's 4 seasons. Each year as the team's schedule neared its end, the players had spent well over 4 months surrounded by each other. Teammates became friends, and Jetvick says she will continue to support those friends.
It's a good feeling knowing that I'm going to stay in the area next year, so I'm not going to completely lose sight of them. I'll be around, I'll be at games, I'll be in the FM area.
While ranking in the top 10 of several career statistical categories for MSUM, it was in her final career game that she placed herself second in program history for total points scored. Just 4 days earlier, Dragon Athletics honored Jetvick in her final game at Alex Nimzig Fieldhouse. It marked the end of an era for her and the Dragons program.
Ladies and gentlemen, Angie Jetvick!
With photographer Kenny Buck, Colin Boyles, Campus News Sports.
One more time for your Dragons seniors!
Jetvick finished her career with less than 100 points behind the Dragons' all-time leading scorer, and is leaving MSUM with quite a legacy.
Yeah, she's definitely leaving some big shoes to fill.
Thank you, CJ. The celebration of Native American culture brought tribes around the area together. North Dakota State University hosted the 23rd annual Woodlands and High Plains Powwow. Hundreds of people of all ages in colorful regalia danced together to the sacred sound of drums and singing. Spectators watched and even had chances to join in on the celebration during intertribal dances. The powwow was hosted by MSUM, NDSU, Concordia, and MSCTC.
A recent Concordia College Marathon had supporters of the Children's Miracle Network and its cause dancing for 12 hours straight. Zach Denzer has more on the celebration.
Last weekend, the Centrum at Concordia College had its loud moments and its soft, as supporters for the Children's Miracle Network raised over $4,000 for the Sanford Children's Hospital in Fargo. But it wasn't the funds raised that impressed the coordinators of this dance event.
I think the main goal for us this year was to raise awareness and to really get the community really well informed on what we were doing and why.
It's just really cool to see how many people are actually willing to come and be involved, especially college students who don't necessarily have a lot of money but are willing to donate to the cause and are willing to come and support us.
It wasn't only college students enthused about this event. Christy Peterson, a member of Sanford's advisory board and mother to 3 children born in the hospital, has different reasons for taking the time out of her afternoon.
My youngest had complications when he was born, which has brought us to Sanford on many occasions for doctor's appointments and emergency room visits and hospital stays. So it's been very important, and we've gotten great care there.
Being here, hearing the stories of the people who have been helped by this organization, it's really kind of cool.
It really makes you want to help out, do anything you can just to make things easier for them.
Although participants throughout the day raise thousands of dollars, organizers hope that future events will have an even bigger impact on the hospital than this one. With photographer Megan Habig, Zach Denzer, Campus News.
Shane Yeager, chair of the event, says he hopes that support for the cause will continue to grow in future years. And that's it for this edition of Campus News.
We leave you with more footage from the Woodlands and High Plains powwow.
We're off next week, but we hope you have a happy Easter.
Campus News is produced by the Television News Workshop in the Department of Mass Communications at Minnesota State University Moorhead in cooperation with Prairie Public Television.